Under a merciless sun, Samaria lies desolate, its once fertile lands now a parched expanse. Skeletal trees clawed desperately at the heavens, their branches bare against the unforgiving sky. Emaciated figures wander aimlessly, their hope dwindling with each step under the blazing heat. They search for sustenance, their bodies weakened by the terrible famine gripping Samaria. Desperation etches deep lines into their faces, reflecting the severity of their plight. The land offers no relief, the famine's grip tightening around the heart of Samaria. Within the opulent palace, King Ahab sits uneasily upon his throne, his face a mask of weariness. Queen Jezebel stands at his side, her gaze sharp and unforgiving, a silent sentinel. The palace's grandeur mocks the desolation beyond its walls, a stark betrayal etched in gold and stone. Ahab shifts restlessly, his eyes betraying a deep disquiet that even the crown cannot conceal. Jezebel's presence looms, a silent promise of unwavering resolve in the face of a crumbling kingdom. In Ahab's ornate throne room, dust dances in the light, a silent testament to the kingdom's decay. King Ahab paces restlessly before his throne, his brow heavy with sweat. A nervous servant stands by, sensing the king's mounting distress. Ahab's voice echoes through the hall. Still no rain? The people are starting to whisper rebellion. Desperation laces his words as he laments. Jezebel's gods demand more sacrifices, but even they can't quench this thirst. The throne room remains silent, the weight of Ahab's despair palpable in the heavy air. Torches cast flickering shadows across Jezebel's opulent chamber, illuminating her cold, regal presence. Her gaze pierces through Ahab, her command ringing with icy resolve. With unwavering resolve, Jezebel declares, "The prophet Elijah is to blame. His defiance has angered the heavens." Her voice hardens, commanding, "Find him, Ahab. Silence him." Under the vast sky, Obadiah, a man divided, surveys the desolate expanse, his heart heavy with unspoken conflict. His eyes reflect a devout fear of the Lord, shadowed by a tangled loyalty to Ahab. The governor is caught between his duty to the king and the whispers of his faith. In the heart of the desolate countryside, Obadiah is a solitary figure, wrestling with his dual allegiances. In the solitude of his chambers, Obadiah stands as a figure of profound worry, his gaze lifted in desperate prayer. His eyes search the heavens, seeking answers in the vast expanse above. The weight of unanswered prayers bears down on him, reflected in his sorrowful expression. A life of devotion now wrestles with the torment of a king's betrayal. How long, O Lord? How long will this famine last? His voice, heavy with despair, echoes in the chamber as he questions divine patience. The anguish deepens as he questions his service to a forsaken king. "How can I serve a king who has forsaken you?" Dust swirls on the road to Samaria as a figure emerges, weathered and intense. Elijah's eyes burn with conviction, a stark contrast to the desolate landscape. He advances, his presence commanding against the backdrop of the open road. Obadiah appears, his expression cautious as Elijah approaches. The distance closes between them, anticipation hanging heavy in the air. A silent confrontation brews on the sun-baked road. Destinies about to collide. A heavy silence fills the void, thick with unspoken tension. Elijah stands his ground, unyielding, as if bracing for an inevitable storm. His voice cuts through the silence, a singular word carrying the weight of expectation. Obadiah. The air crackles with anticipation as Elijah's call echoes, unanswered yet pregnant with consequence. In an unidentified space, Obadiah looks on, surprise etched across his face. A moment of stunned silence fills the air. Obadiah's expression shifts to a mix of shock and disbelief. With a trembling voice, Obadiah utters, "My lord Elijah, is it truly you?" The question hangs in the air, heavy with anticipation. Obadiah awaits a response, hope and uncertainty battling within him. On the dusty road to Samaria, Obadiah's awe is palpable as he kneels before the imposing figure of Elijah. Elijah stands tall, casting a long shadow over the kneeling Obadiah. The vast, barren landscape of Samaria stretches out behind them, emphasizing their isolation. Dust swirls around Obadiah, highlighting his vulnerability before the prophet. Elijah's piercing gaze meets Obadiah's, a silent exchange of power and submission. In the obscurity of night, shadows twist and writhe across the walls, casting an ominous pall. Obadiah, adorned in rich attire, bows low, his face a canvas of anxiety and dread. His voice trembles as he asks, "What is your will, my lord?" He pleads, "Do you know the danger I face if I am seen with you?" Against the desolate landscape, Elijah stands alone, a solitary figure facing the storm. Elijah's defiant stance against the elements mirrors his unwavering resolve. His voice cuts through the wind, carrying a challenge that echoes across the land. Elijah's words, "Go, tell your Lord, Elijah is here," ring with unwavering conviction. The wind seems to carry his declaration, a bold proclamation echoing his presence. In a desolate place, Obadiah kneels, his face a mask of desperation. His voice, cracking, Obadiah cries out, "As the Lord your God lives, there is no nation or kingdom where my Lord has not sent someone to seek you." The weight of his plea hangs in the air, each word a testament to relentless pursuit. Obadiah continues, "And when they said, 'He is not here,' he made the kingdom or nation swear that they had not found you." His words echo in the emptiness, a desperate vow in a barren landscape. The road to Samaria stretches out, a ribbon of dust against the parched landscape. Obadiah sweeps his hand across the horizon, the dry earth amplifying the desperation of their journey. The sun beats down, casting long shadows that amplify the desolation. The cracked earth mirrors the fractured hope of those who travel this barren path. In the oppressive heat, the road to Samaria seems endless, promising no respite. In an unknown location, Obadiah's worry casts a heavy pall over the scene. Obadiah speaks, his voice trembling slightly as he begins. "Now you say, 'Go, tell your Lord.'" Each word hangs in the air, laden with fear. The unknown location amplifies the sense of isolation and dread. In an unknown location, Elijah stands firm, his determination palpable. The air around Elijah shimmers with unseen energy, anticipation building. With unwavering conviction, Elijah proclaims, "As the Lord of hosts lives, before whom I stand, I will surely show myself to him today." Elijah's words echo, filling the space with unshakable resolve. On the road to Samaria, Obadiah wrestles with dread. His face reflects a storm of fear and determination. Hesitation battles with resolve. Slowly, Obadiah rises, a stand against fear. In the dimly lit room, Obadiah stands, his figure a silhouette against the faint light. The weight of unspoken burden seems to bow Obadiah's shoulders. A profound sigh escapes Obadiah's lips, heavy with resignation. In a hushed tone, Obadiah whispers, "Your will be done, my lord." His words echo softly, lost in the heavy air of the unknown location. Obadiah turns sharply, determination etched on his face. He begins to hurry, his cloak billowing dramatically behind him. The road to Samaria stretches before him, a path of destiny. His pace quickens as he moves towards Samaria. The landscape blurs as Obadiah presses on. Samaria awaits, a beacon in the distance. Inside Ahab's grand palace, Obadiah's anxiety fills the opulent space. The weight of unspoken words hangs heavy in the air. Obadiah struggles to maintain composure. The palace echoes with unspoken tension. In a space veiled in shadow, Obadiah, cloaked and worn, confronts a regal presence. His voice, a mere whisper, betrays a blend of urgency and terror. "My lord, I have seen Elijah." The regal figure looms, an aura of power emanating from the darkness. The room holds its breath, the weight of Obadiah's revelation hanging heavy in the air. Ahab sits upon his grand throne, his regal posture betraying a deep weariness. A sudden shift, Ahab rises, his eyes widening with a mixture of surprise and apprehension. A palpable tension fills the throne room as Ahab abruptly stands, his eyes flashing with alarm. His voice echoes through the hall, a mixture of shock and urgency. "Elijah, where?" The question hangs in the air, unanswered, as Ahab searches for the unseen presence. The throne room remains silent, save for Ahab's desperate plea echoing in the vast space. Ahab's gaze locks onto Obadiah, a tempest of suspicion and desperate hope swirling within him. A silent battle rages across Ahab's face as he searches Obadiah's expression for any sign of truth. The weight of his kingdom rests heavily on Ahab as he struggles to reconcile doubt with the need for reassurance. Ahab's eyes narrow, the flicker of distrust momentarily eclipsing the glimmer of hope. Ahab's posture shifts slightly, a subtle indication of his internal conflict as he grapples with uncertainty. Ahab's face is a mask, concealing the turmoil as he attempts to discern Obadiah's true intentions. In his chambers, Ahab, a king forged by time and power, stirs from his regal repose. A sudden surge of resolve ignites within Ahab's eyes, burning with an unquenchable fire. Ahab rises, his weathered face etched with the weight of command, ready to confront destiny. With a voice resonant with authority, Ahab commands, "Prepare my chariot. I will see this for myself." Ahab's declaration echoes through the chambers, a promise of action. At Samaria's city gates, starving faces turn, their hollow eyes locked on the distant horizon. Ahab's chariot bursts into view, racing toward the city, a cloud of dust billowing in its wake. The chariot thunders closer, the dust momentarily blinding the desperate crowd. Starvation etched on every face, they await the arrival, a mix of hope and despair swirling in their eyes. Ahab approaches, his arrival a spectacle of dust and desperation at the gates of a besieged city. Ahab descends from his chariot, his face a mask of fury. He strides purposefully toward Elijah, his anger building with each step. Ahab's eyes narrow, focusing solely on Elijah. Ahab confronts Elijah, his face etched with rage. In an atmosphere charged with unspoken animosity, two figures stand rigidly, their silence amplifying the tension. Ahab's voice pierces the oppressive quiet, his accusation hanging heavy in the air. "Is it you, you troubler of Israel?" The second figure remains still, his expression unreadable, as Ahab's challenge echoes around them. The air vibrates with the anticipation of a response, the figures locked in a silent battle of wills. At the gates of Samaria, Elijah stands, an unwavering sentinel against a city steeped in defiance. His gaze, a beacon of unyielding resolve, pierces through the city's hardened exterior. His very presence challenges the city's descent into shadow, a lone figure standing against the corruption of Samaria. In an unknown location, Elijah stands, his gaze fixed on an unseen presence. His voice resonates with conviction. "I have not troubled Israel, but you have, and your father's house." He accuses them of forsaking divine law, in that you have forsaken the commandments of the Lord. His voice hardens, concluding with a damning indictment, "and have followed the Baals." At the city gates of Samaria, Elijah raises his hand, his voice echoing with divine power. His commanding presence silences the bustling city, all eyes fixed on the prophet. The air crackles with anticipation as Elijah's words cut through the silence. Ahab shrinks under the weight of Elijah's divine pronouncement. The fate of Samaria hangs in the balance as the prophet delivers his decree. A sweeping vista of rocky terrain unfolds, dominated by the imposing presence of Mount Carmel. The atmosphere crackles with anticipation as Elijah stands resolute, his eyes scanning the distant gathering. In a moment of profound command, Elijah's voice cuts through the silence. "Now therefore, send and gather all Israel to me on Mount Carmel." His challenge echoes across the land, the 450 prophets of Baal, and the 400 prophets of Asherah, who eat at Jezebel's table. At the Samaria city gates, Ahab confronts Elijah. Ahab is taken aback by Elijah's boldness. A moment of stunned silence hangs in the air. Ahab struggles to compose himself. Ahab's surprise quickly turns to anger. Ahab stands, a tower of defiance, his eyes burning with zeal. With a dismissive gesture, he scorns the very notion of challenge. His voice echoes, a challenge thrown into the void. Mount Carmel? You dare challenge the prophets of Baal? Ahab's eyes narrow, his gaze piercing as he awaits an answer. Ahab's posture remains firm, unflinching in his conviction. In a place unknown, an atmosphere thick with anticipation heralds a moment of reckoning. Elijah's commanding presence silences the murmuring crowd, their expressions a mix of doubt and curiosity. Elijah's voice cuts through the silence, declaring, "The Lord will show himself to be the true God." His challenge hangs in the air, a gauntlet thrown before the assembled people. He calls upon them to choose, his words echoing with divine authority. Let the people decide whom they will serve. The crowd watches, suspended between skepticism and hope, their decision poised to alter destinies. At the Samaria city gates, Ahab pauses, his resolve wavering. His internal conflict is palpable. A silent battle waged within. A moment of profound decision hangs in the balance. With a visible effort, Ahab steels himself, his expression hardening. He nods, the subtle movement a declaration of his choice. The gates of Samaria await, now a threshold to an unwritten fate. Upon the desolate summit of Mount Carmel, Ahab stands alone, a figure of grim determination against the vast sky. The wind howls around him, a tempest mirroring the turmoil in his heart as he surveys the land below. His voice, a low rumble against the wind's fury, breaks the silence with a declaration of intent. "So be it," Ahab proclaims, his words carrying the weight of a fateful decision. "I will gather the people and the prophets on Mount Carmel," he commands, his voice echoing with unwavering resolve. The stage is set for a confrontation that will test the very foundations of belief, as Ahab prepares to summon all to Mount Carmel. At the Samaria city gates, Ahab's sudden turn sends dust swirling, signaling a brewing storm of anger. Ahab's brow furrows deeply, reflecting the tumultuous emotions raging within. He strides purposefully toward his chariot, each step measured with resolve. The chariot awaits, a silent witness to the king's mounting fury. Ahab prepares to depart, the dust settling in his wake as the gates loom behind him. In the dim light of his cabin, Ahab's face is etched with resolve and shadowed by doubt. His fingers trace a perilous route on the nautical chart, charting a course through treacherous waters. The weight of destiny settles upon him as he debates his ambition. This could be my chance to prove Elijah wrong. A tremor of fear flickers across his face as he acknowledges the stakes. Or it could be my downfall. Across the sprawling countryside, messengers burst forth, a cloud of dust rising in their wake. Their mission, to summon the people of Israel. Urgent tidings carried across the land, the fate of a nation hanging in the balance. The prophets of Baal and Asherah are called to gather. All converge at Mount Carmel. The call echoes, a gathering of destiny on the ancient mountaintop. A multitude of faces, etched with desperation, converge on Mount Carmel, their weary eyes reflecting the harsh reality of famine. The slopes of Mount Carmel are filled with a sea of humanity, their gaunt faces a stark testament to the widespread famine. Each individual carries a personal story of hardship, their collective presence a powerful symbol of resilience in the face of starvation. The air is thick with a mixture of hope and despair. As the crowd gathers on Mount Carmel, seeking solace from the relentless grip of famine, Elijah stands as a solitary figure against the skyline, his robes fluttering dramatically in the fierce wind. Below, a multitude of faces stretches out, a sea of anticipation rippling through the crowd. Across the expanse, the prophets of Baal and Asherah huddle together, a dense cluster of nervous energy. The wind intensifies, carrying the weight of unspoken expectations across the gathered masses. A palpable tension fills the air as all eyes remain fixed, waiting for a sign. A sea of faces, etched with doubt and curiosity, turns toward a solitary figure. Elijah stands tall, his voice a beacon of unwavering conviction in a world of shifting loyalties. His words cut through the air. How long will you falter between two opinions? He challenges their wavering faith, demanding a choice between the true God and false idols. If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal, follow him. The crowd remains silent, the weight of Elijah's question hanging heavy in the air. On Mount Carmel, a crowd gathers in uneasy silence, their faces reflecting a mix of hope and fear. The air crackles with unspoken tension, a heavy atmosphere that threatens to ignite at any moment. The faces in the crowd reveal a community divided, their expressions a stark illustration of fractured unity. The silence stretches, pregnant with the potential for either miraculous resolution or devastating conflict. In a space of stark anonymity, Elijah stands, a commanding presence ready to challenge. His voice booms, echoing with unwavering authority, captivating an invisible audience. Elijah proclaims, "Then let 2 bulls be given to us, and let them choose 1 bull for themselves." He continues, setting the terms. "And I will prepare the other bull, and lay it on the wood, but put no fire under it." Elijah stands tall on Mount Carmel, his figure a stark contrast against the horizon. He raises a hand, a clear gesture intended for the prophets of Baal. His expression sharpens as he challenges his adversaries, his voice commanding. The prophets of Baal, a sea of faces, shift nervously under Elijah's intense gaze. Elijah's unwavering resolve silences the crowd, the mountain air thick with anticipation. In the heart of the unknown, Elijah stands unyielding before the hushed multitude, the very air shimmering with unspoken tension. His voice cuts through the silence, a challenge thrown. "Then you call on the name of your gods, and I will call on the name of the Lord." The weight of his proclamation hangs heavy, each word a spark in the tinder of belief. Elijah proclaims with unwavering conviction, "And the God who answers by fire, he is God." A wave of hushed whispers rolls through the crowd, a symphony of voices building and receding like the tide. An ocean of faces, each etched with curiosity, turns toward the spectacle, a blend of anticipation and doubt clouding their eyes. The air crackles with unspoken questions as the crowd's collective gaze sharpens, their veiled skepticism hinting at the drama to come. A ripple of anticipation courses through the assembly, their collective breath held in a moment of tense expectancy. The crowd becomes a sea of expectant faces, each one a mirror reflecting the unfolding drama. In an ethereal glow, a figure emerges, their stance radiating self-assurance. The figure stands firm, a beacon of unwavering resolve in the soft light. A voice echoes, resonating with ancient wisdom. "The people, it is well spoken." The figure remains, their presence a testament to strength and serenity, as words of approval linger in the air. On Mount Carmel, the prophets of Baal select a bull, their robes fluttering in the wind, preparing for a ritual sacrifice. A rising chorus of voices fills the air as the prophets chant, their calls echoing across the desolate mountain. The chanting intensifies, their movements growing frantic as they implore Baal with increasing desperation. The prophets of Baal call with more frantic voices, their desperate pleas echoing across the mountain. Under the unyielding sun, time stretches into an eternity on Mount Carmel. The prophets of Baal, drenched in sweat, escalate their fervent pleas. Desperation fuels their leaping and shouting, a frenzied dance of devotion. Their voices echo, a cacophony of pleas and threats aimed at the unresponsive heavens. The sky remains silent, an impassive witness to their increasingly frantic efforts. Upon Mount Carmel, Elijah observes the scene with a detached, sardonic smile. His eyes glint with a mix of amusement and scorn as he watches. The landscape around him seems to echo his silent judgment. A faint smile plays on Elijah's lips. In a desolate space, Elijah stands, a smirk dancing on his lips as he prepares to mock. His voice drips with sarcasm as he addresses the unseen crowd. He taunts them. "Cry aloud, for he is a god," Elijah sneers. Or perhaps he is sleeping and must be awakened. On Mount Carmel, the prophets of Baal descend into a frenzy, their desperation intensifying. Driven by desperation, they slash at their own bodies with swords, a macabre display of devotion. The air fills with the metallic tang of blood, a grim testament to their futile efforts. Blood flows freely, staining the ground beneath them as their cries echo across the mountain. Their frenzied movements become more erratic, a chaotic dance of self-inflicted pain. Despite their fervent display, the heavens remain silent, their God unresponsive to their pleas. Upon Mount Carmel, silence hangs heavy as the people wait, their faith faltering with each passing moment. Hope dwindles as the heavens remain unmoved, their silent vigil stretching into an eternity of unanswered prayers. The weight of unanswered prayers presses down, crushing spirits under the immense void of divine silence. In the face of unbroken silence, the crowd's collective hope begins to fade, their resolve cracking under the strain of divine indifference. Their vigil ends in quiet despair, the mountain air thick with the unspoken lament of a community abandoned. The sun descends, casting a warm glow over Mount Carmel as Elijah prepares to advance. Elijah steps forward, his figure silhouetted against the fading light. He continues his ascent, each step deliberate and unwavering. Elijah's determination is palpable. Elijah stands tall, the setting sun painting the sky behind him. An imposing figure stands silhouetted against an intense, blinding light. The figure moves forward, each step revealing Elijah's face, hardened with resolve. Elijah emerges from the shadows, determination now etched deeply into his features. With newfound clarity, Elijah's gaze intensifies as he prepares to confront his destiny. With unwavering resolve, Elijah declares, "Now it is my turn." Upon Mount Carmel, Elijah, a figure etched by time and resolve, begins his sacred labor. With meticulous care, he selects the first stone, a symbol of a nation's fractured heritage. Each stone is placed with precision, restoring the ancient altar, a testament to faith. One by one, the stones unite, mirroring the 12 tribes of Israel. The altar rises, a monument of hope amidst a landscape of doubt and despair. His weathered hands trace the stones, a silent promise of restoration and renewal. High atop Mount Carmel, a solemn ritual unfolds, the air heavy with ancient purpose. With meticulous care, he places each piece of wood, building the foundation for what is to come. The bull is cut with practiced precision, each piece a testament to the dedication of the ritual. Each slice is deliberate, transforming the offering with reverence and skill. The altar is prepared, the air growing thick with anticipation. The offering is complete, the ancient altar now ready to fulfill its sacred purpose. On Mount Carmel, Elijah directs the people, his voice echoing with divine authority. The people struggle under the weight of the large jars, water sloshing with each step. Water cascades over the sacrifice, saturating the wood and altar in a torrent. The altar is drenched, the sacrifice completely submerged beneath the flood. A hush falls over the crowd as the scene is set for a divine test. Elijah watches, his face a mask of anticipation as he prepares for the miraculous. Water begins to cascade over the wood, saturating every fiber. The sacrifice is drenched, absorbing the moisture. The altar glistens, reflecting the light as water pools across its surface. Elijah repeats the process, water flowing again, ensuring every inch is soaked. He pours again, the relentless flow drenching the offering, emphasizing the thoroughness of the act. The trench surrounding the altar overflows, brimming with water, a testament to the abundance. On Mount Carmel, Elijah retreats, his figure a solitary silhouette against the vast sky. His hands ascend towards the heavens, a gesture of invocation. He seeks divine intervention, his posture reflecting complete surrender. The air crackles with anticipation as Elijah remains still. The landscape holds its breath, awaiting the response to Elijah's call. In an unknown location, Elijah stands firm, a beacon of resolve amidst an atmosphere thick with anticipation. Elijah begins to speak, his voice resonating with unwavering faith and conviction. He proclaims, "Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known this day that you are God in Israel, and I am your servant." Elijah's voice reaches its zenith, "and that I have done all these things at your word." On Mount Carmel, a solitary figure seeks divine intervention, his eyes sealed shut in fervent prayer. His silent plea ascends, seeking to pierce the heavens. The weight of his people's fate rests heavily on his shoulders. Each word is a desperate hope, a plea for redemption. The air grows still, as if the world itself holds its breath in anticipation. Awaiting a sign, Elijah remains steadfast in his devotion. Under the relentless sun, Elijah stands as a solitary figure against the desolate backdrop of Mount Carmel. Elijah raises his hands toward the heavens, his voice resonating with divine conviction. His voice cuts through the stillness. "Hear me, O Lord, hear me." Elijah pleads that the people recognize the Lord God, urging a return to faith. The crowd watches Elijah, their faces a mix of anticipation and uncertainty. Elijah's unwavering faith fills the air, his plea echoing across the barren land. A blinding flash of fire descends from the heavens, instantly engulfing everything. The sacrifice is consumed in a roaring inferno. The intense blaze leaves nothing but ash and scorched earth. Water in the trench evaporates in a furious cloud of steam. The scene is transformed into a display of divine power, leaving only heat and awe. The crowd begins to kneel, faces lowered, in a mix of awe and reverence. Tears stream down faces as they are overwhelmed by the moment. Their voices rise in a chorus of humbled cries. In unison, they are surrendering to the divine. An all-encompassing light floods the unknown space, its intensity almost unbearable. Echoes of voices reverberate, filled with profound reverence and awe. The unified voices rise in unison, declaring, "The Lord, He is God." The declaration rings out again, each word imbued with deeper devotion. "The Lord, He is God." The light intensifies as the echoes of faith-filled voices fade into the infinite. Against the vast sky, Elijah rises, a figure of stark silhouette. His commanding presence silences the land. With stern expression, he points a finger towards the prophets of Baal, a gesture of divine authority. The sky darkens, mirroring Elijah's unwavering resolve. Dust swirls around Elijah, his face a mask of divine rage. With the force of a thunderclap, Elijah's voice commands action across Mount Carmel. "Seize the prophets of Baal!" Elijah's command slices through the chaos. "Do not let one of them escape." His words echo, a decree etched in stone. A wave of humanity crashes forward, a unified roar echoing as the crowd surges to seize the prophets of Baal. Robes are torn, symbols of false reverence ripped away in a frenzy of righteous anger. Eyes wide with fear and defiance, the captured prophets are dragged down the rugged slopes of Mount Carmel. Their fate sealed, the mob drags the prophets towards the distant, winding path of the Kishon Valley. In the Kishon Valley, Elijah watches over the scene. The prophets of Baal face their doom. Elijah's presence commands the valley. The valley witnesses the final act. On Mount Carmel, Elijah prepares for a confrontation. Elijah's unwavering gaze pierces through Ahab. Ahab stands defiant, bracing himself against Elijah's piercing stare. The air crackles with anticipation as Elijah's stern expression sets the stage for what is to come. Elijah's resolve hardens, his stance unyielding. Ahab remains unmoved, his expression a mask of stubborn resistance. The air hangs heavy, thick with anticipation. The dry, parched earth thirsts for release, mirroring a land starved for rain. A faint rumble echoes from afar, the distant promise of thunder heralding a change. Elijah stands, his silhouette stark against the desolate landscape. His voice cuts through the silence, a beacon of hope amidst the desolation. "Go up, eat, and drink," Elijah commands, his words resonating with the promise of relief. For there is the sound of abundance of rain. On Mount Carmel, Ahab searches the heavens, his face a canvas of longing. Nearby, Elijah prepares, a figure of resolute faith against a desolate backdrop. The cracked earth whispers tales of despair, a testament to the famine's unrelenting grip. The withered landscape stretches towards the horizon, mirroring the land's suffering. Ahab's hope flickers against the stark reality of the arid land, a silent plea for salvation. Elijah remains steadfast, his imminent prayer a beacon of promise in the face of devastation.